first encounter with Gus, and it must have been 1959 or 1960, and I was a little kid, and I was going up to a Montclair High School JV basketball game. And I got up there, and a few of my buddies, and I looked up, and there was this referee running up and down the court, blowing the whistle. Now, you know, refereeing a basketball game today may not seem like a Herculean event, but I have to tell you, in 1960, that was the first black referee any of us had ever seen. And I can remember sitting after that game, the varsity comes out to play, and a few of us went by, and that was my first talk with Gus Heningburg. I don't know why, but for the rest of my life, it was embedded in my mind about Gus with that whistle. And I think it's because a referee is one that makes sure that the game is fair. The referee calls the fouls. The referee is there to even out the game. And when we think about Gus's life, he was a referee with a whistle in his mouth the entire time. And it didn't make any difference if it was with the construction trades or just a mother who had a baby and wasn't getting a fair shake from a human service agency. Gus would blow that whistle, call foul, and say, you know, y'all, we better think about this. You know, y'all, we better talk about this. You know, y'all, we better do something about this, and it better get done, or things aren't going to move ahead. And that's how I remember Gus. I also remember Gus because it wasn't just about the trades as a whole or helping black businessmen as a whole. He knew you, and he knew me. And he enjoyed all of our journeys, and he reveled in our destination. And he liked to sit about all of us. He would talk, many of you are out here today. He'd tell me about you and brag about all your accomplishments. And I'm sure he did the same with others. I had the daunting task of coming in to succeed Gus at the Urban Coalition. And I can tell you that he cheerfully applauded my successes. And on the other side, if Gus thought I would need to do something a little bit differently, he'd pick up that telephone and call me and quietly and calmly explain to me how I might have handled it a different way. And in that respect, he was a great mentor to me. One of my best memories of Gus came, I was Commissioner of Energy under Tom Kane. And Gus and I were talking, and I decided I was going to come out with this edict for the utilities. And the rationale was this. If you're public service, if you're Jersey Central Power and Light, we're guaranteeing you a constituency. We're guaranteeing you patrons who are going to pay the electric bills or pay the gas bills. And when we looked at the board of directors of all these utilities around the state, I believe there were 88 directors, and out of that, there were a total combined of 4 women and minorities. And there was no supplier diversity program within the utilities. So with the governor's consent, I made this big speech, and we said that I, as Commissioner of Energy, was going to intervene in rate cases against utilities if they did not diversify their boards of directors and implement supplier diversity. So obviously that got their attention. And Gus and I worked together, so Gus came in, and Gus was my consultant on that. And I will never forget this. One of those guys that I think Bob Curvin or Richard Roper was talking about, they couldn't stand Gus. One of the utility chiefs, didn't want the Urban Coalition, didn't want anything. He came into my office, and we were sitting around this table. And as soon as he walked in, he didn't know Gus was going to be there. And I tell you, he looked, and he got red as a lobster. And we sat down, and we said, what you're going to do with this, and Gus is going to work with you on your diversity suppliers, and we want you to put somebody on your board of directors. When he walked out, Gus and I cracked up. The only thing I can tell you is 6 weeks later, a minority woman went on the board of that utility, and they had a supplier diversity program, which Gus had implemented for them. Gus, you've reached that plateau where you no longer need the whistle. There's justice where you are, and you can let the whistle rest. But we want you to know from here that you fought the fight, you finished the course, and you kept the faith. And we love you very much. Thank you.